So the Corey Holcomb's Anton Daniels 5150 interview was very interesting. Um, it really reminded me of where I came from. I was one of them from the hood, protected by the niggas that was their only option to be a hood motherfucker or to be somebody that's from the hood. Excuse me, I'm gonna try not to curse so much, but yeah. Anyways, being someone that came out of the lowest and made their way to, not even being a rich class. So I can't fully relate to Anton Daniels' stance on some of the stuff that he feels about black people, but it's definitely an evolved take. Sometimes I step outside of, my experiences and I look at, what it's like being what it could be like to be someone of an elite, not even of the black race. But when I speak to people that live so wealthy and their whole life has been really just paved from their parents and their grandparents, when you reach someone that has generational wealth or has never really had to worry about the struggle, you see things from a different perspective, and it's very interesting. But entirely, I feel like it was a reminder of where I came from. There are people that are out here who won't have the patience to be able to sit through what Anton Daniels tried to give Corey Holcomb. And Corey Holcomb he really couldn't, process the things that Anton was saying. It was more of an emotional uh, back and forth between the two. And it's interesting to see that from two black leaders in the content space. Um, Anton Daniels, his takes are definitely different. Sometimes I'm not in agreement with his perspective, but it's a learning experience to watch him have a different perspective. And honestly, sometimes I can relate to a lot of things that he's saying because, it makes sense. I mean, when he's talking about how black people, um, you know, are really racist as well. I mean, just to call out racism, I've always been one to call out racism from other races. But then, I could see the, the other side of that where I have been, uh, I experienced racism from another black person or other black people being in black areas, being in black um, situations with other people where you would assume that they would understand what type of person I look like or what type of person I am based on the way I carry myself. Or, you experience when you experience racism from both ends, when you experience racism from white people and from black people, right? You can relate to what um, Anton Daniels was saying, really. Anton he got a good take on that, when it comes to racism, when it comes to where we are in America with violence and checking us, from that perspective, right? From an evolved perspective, from, seeing our black society elevated, and I can relate to a lot of what he's saying. I think that I'm more on Anton's side of the whole debate. Now, he was definitely wrong for telling Corey, suck, that you sucking black America's dick. I get that. That was definitely out of line. But it was interesting to see how he broke down Corey's takes, his show, how it's all maneuvered and stuff. And Corey had an opportunity to express himself, but he kept trying to like diminish, Anton's position and and his own understanding of being black. And that happens a lot. If you're an intellectual or you're an intellect, there's been times where I've been in situations with hood people, and I come from that. I'm 100%. But because I'm I'm more of an intellect, where I practice that intellectualness, it's kind of like I diminished my black characteristics of me being someone that's from that cloth, right? It's like you, it's like the kid that's in the hood that dresses different, and you got somebody who dresses like every other black motherfucker, and because he's being accepted for being, you know, one of the sheep, then he feels like he can test that kid, and that kid actually comes from the cloth and then some. You know, it's not about street politics in this fashion. It's about survival of the fittest. It's about getting to the next level. If you're having a conversation, I think that it's necessary for both sides to be heard. But I think that if Corey would have allowed Anton to just like kind of like try to like communicate with him on like a standalone, you understand me, I understand you, it would have been a better situation. But Corey kept taking jabs at him, and he didn't see the jabs he was taking. But then when Anton reacted, it was just all about what Anton did. You know, you got to be able to like really ground yourself, running the show. And I think that he's not able to do that unless he's getting his ego stroked, or unless I don't know what made him jump out of character in that way, outside of the whole dick sucking comment. Like that shit should have just went out of the window. But it was an interesting interview, seriously, because I really think that needs to happen. Two black men, two black predominant men in the space of content sitting down and like bridging a gap. I think that needs to happen way more often. And I'm kind of scrambled with how I explained it. I'm still new to this content stuff, so just putting it out there, my perspective, my take on it. I feel as if intellectually, when it comes to the sake of the argument, I liked a lot of points that Anton had, right? But I also understood Corey's take. You can't just go around saying stuff to people like that. A lot of people don't have the patience to deal with stuff like that. So it was very interesting back and forth. And again, I just hope that we have more of that. But anyways, y'all take it easy. Peace.